This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. It's that time of the week where we go through your hot takes. I react to them, tell you what I think about your hot takes that you leave in my comment section. Excited to do it. Let's get to it. All right. This first video is about the Browns trading for Jerry Jeudy. My guy Pepe Sylvia, shout out to Always Sunny, says Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore both endured terrible QB play from their previous teams. Elijah also had to endure rocky QB play his first season in Cleveland. I think both Elijah and Jerry are incredibly talented, versatile wide receivers that have had opportunities to showcase that talent. I think Deshaun Watson can clean up his struggles. I see both of these young dudes shine. And I would agree with you. I also think it's just Deshaun Watson played 3 games in a row last year at most. There's just no way to build up chemistry when it's just start and stop like that. And to Elijah Moore's point that you made here, it wasn't just that the quarterback play was up and down. It was also that the quarterback play was consistently changing. So let me just try to pull it up off the top of my head. Weeks 1 and 2, weeks 1, 2, and 3, you have Deshaun Watson like you plan to, right? By the time you get to week 3, week 1, you get bad weather, horrible weather. Nobody can throw the ball in that weather. Week 2, Deshaun Watson plays a absolute turd of a game. Week 3 starts to turn around. Deshaun's throwing that thing. Everybody's starting to get successful. Like it starts to look good, right? Get to week 4, Deshaun Watson's hurt. Okay, so DTR is in there. He looks awful. That's week 4, right? Then you go to the bye week. During the bye week, they announce, hey, if Deshaun can't play, PJ going to play. So then PJ plays. Deshaun's not back. You still wonder, is Deshaun going to be back for this Seattle game? Or no, for this Indianapolis, for the Seattle game? Or was it Indianapolis? I believe it was Indianapolis. Correct me if I'm wrong. So is Deshaun going to be back for this Indianapolis game? Oh, Deshaun might be back for this Indianapolis game. So Deshaun comes back for the Indianapolis game. And then he plays a quarter, and he goes back out, and then PJ back in. And then you win the game, you go to Seattle, and it's PJ. They're telling you it's PJ. Okay, it's going to be PJ Walker. And then you play that game, and you're hearing it's going to be Deshaun against the Seattle. Okay, so you get prepared for Deshaun. All right, we're going to be back to what we was doing. All right, we prepare for Deshaun. And Deshaun plays well in that Arizona game. And then you play Baltimore, and Deshaun plays well in that Baltimore game. And you think, finally, we about to hit this stretch. We about to get going. Deshaun Watson's out for the year. So what's next? Okay, we're going to bring in DTR. Okay, so you get prepared for DTR. You play a game. It's obvious that they're still preparing them to take over the offense. All right, whatever. They sign Joe Flacco. They start DTR. So now you got in the back of your head, Joe Flacco might come in, and then DTR comes in. And then DTR gets hurt, and then Joe Flacco comes in. And then for 6 weeks, you have some consistency at the quarterback position. I would agree that it was very difficult for Elijah Moore to find his footing, given that much tug and pull with the quarterback. Because it was just start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. This guy, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. All year. And I would have to imagine that takes its toll on wide receivers. If Deshaun can be healthy for most of the season and you get like 1 quarterback change at most, I think you'll be fine. I really think they'll be fine. Steelers signed Russell Wilson. Joe says it's kind of nice to see other AFC North teams go through quarterback purgatory where Cleveland was and for almost 20 years. Yeah, man, it's funny watching Pittsburgh be in quarterback purgatory and not realize it. And that's what quarterback purgatory is. You're in a constant state of denial. Look, Browns fans were in a constant state of denial in quarterback purgatory because every year we thought we had the solution, right? Okay, we got RG3. We got Johnny Manziel, right? And, it looked like Pittsburgh's headed for that. They're not really headed for it. They're in it, by the way. Like, they are full on team don't got a quarterback doing stuff that teams that don't have quarterbacks do. Like, look at how the Steelers move and look at like how the Falcons move. Does it really look that different? John says, I don't know, Q. This was a really shrewd move by Pittsburgh. He could really end up being the best quarterback on that team. And even if he doesn't play a single snap, he's a veteran backup that's been to multiple Super Bowls and an elite laden pass, being paid $1.2 million. I still don't feel the Steelers, but there's definitely a better team than last year. Again, I'll say it again. The Russell Wilson signing, it makes sense in March. Well, the reason Russell Wilson is getting paid over $100 million by both the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos to not play for them right now is not because it doesn't look good on paper. It's because of Russ. And there's something about that dude that makes good coaches that have seen what championship locker rooms look like, want to get that man out of there by any means necessary. It's a huge sign to me that this might not be the best move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when I hear stuff like them talking about we going to lean on Russell Wilson's leadership, who's been following that leadership since 2018? I don't know. I got a serious question about that. Again, you can look at it like that on paper. Oh, well, he could be a good backup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's be realistic, man. Russ ain't go there to be no backup. Russ still think he Russ. Russ dropped the video package when he signed there. He does not think he's sitting the bench. Brown signed Zadarius Smith and Mo Hurst. Nick the Sheep says, really take it for granted how drama-free things have been the last couple of years. We're just cruising through the offseason. Great content from Q and watching AB cook. So smooth. I forget that we still have the two best coaches in the league. Let's send all of our extra good juju Batman's way for a great recovery. Yeah, I can feel the uneasiness that I think a lot of Browns fans feel right now, because this is just an unfamiliar place for the Browns to be at. But the Browns, their main core roster is set, locked in, right? They're really just seeing if they can bring back some key pieces and who they can keep around at certain numbers. But as far as them trying to go out and make a big splash, they don't have to do that. They've made the big splashes, right? Deshaun Watson was a big splash. Amari Cooper was a big splash. He's still on the team. And then you got guys like Nick Chubb that you hope to come back and be a big impact for this team. You hope Deshaun Watson can stay healthy and be a big impact for this team. And then you had the defensive player of the year. You have a serious roster in Cleveland, and that roster is not one that's up and coming anymore. It's complete. And it's one of the best in the NFL. I think we're so used to trying to build a roster that now that the Browns are in maintain mode, we don't really know what to do with ourselves because we're used to adding. But now they're maintaining. Most of the Browns' big moves this year, retaining guys that they already had on the roster. Just tells you they're in a different place. The great comment there, Nick. Browns signed linebacker Jameis Winston for backup. DK, before we knew that Joe Flacco was definitely not coming back, said, Joe Flacco, I'd be surprised if he came back. Seems like Baker Bros found a new guy to latch onto. I thought did a good job. But let's not forget, it was bad teams, and he still threw a ton of INTs. The offense looks to go forward, and you can't have the two different playbooks to build around Watson and playmakers. Seems like they didn't run it again. DW types run system. He's not that type of quarterback. We'll be interested to see what they get. I still think Fields is an option, and I don't think he is because they're not going to cut DTR. But here is where I'm at with the whole Joe Flacco thing. If you are somebody who follows the team casually, I really don't blame those fans for having an issue with Joe Flacco not coming back because, if somebody just watches the team casually, they don't care about what the offensive fit's like. They don't care that the Browns switched out offensive. Like the stuff that we talk about on this channel on a routine basis is not casual stuff, right? And I think the love for Joe Flacco was universal in Cleveland amongst, some hardcore fans and some casual fans. And if you're a casual fan, I can understand how you can go from like, hey, Joe Flacco played well. That's what everybody in the media was telling me. Why didn't we bring him back? And you're not trying to hear about offensive structure. You're not trying to hear about 5-7 step drops and the timing. Like that's not how you consume football. So I really get that part of it. I don't think it's just Baker bros, right? You also like just have a section of the fan base who don't like Deshaun Watson. And I think that's fair for those people not to like Deshaun Watson, which means they're going to root for whoever is not Deshaun Watson in that quarterback room, right? Like, that's just what it is, right? And if you're a Browns fan and you want Deshaun Watson to succeed, like that's just part of bringing in Deshaun Watson. You had to know that everybody wasn't going to be rooting for you when you made that move because it wasn't 100% babyface move that the Browns made, right? You had to expect that there were going to be people who did not like it, and it is what it is. Now, from a football standpoint, I stand by it. I think moving on from Flacco and going after Jameis makes sense from a football standpoint. And I tend to give Andrew Berry the benefit of the doubt when it comes to decisions on backup quarterback, because every time he does something at backup quarterback, people complain and he ends up being right at the end of the day. We literally did this with Jacoby Brissett. People complained about him bringing in Jacoby Brissett. Oh, we should have traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, we should have kept Baker Mayfield under contract. All these opinions about what the Browns should have did at quarterback because they were so afraid of Jacoby Brissett and Josh Dobbs playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns while Deshaun Watson was suspended. All of these articles, just for people to be writing about Josh Dobbs and Jacoby Brissett, need to stay on the Browns for the next 2 years, right? We did all that stuff about Jimmy Garoppolo. The Browns need to trade a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, whatever the hell people were writing, just to be enamored with Jacoby Brissett and mad at the Browns when they don't bring back Jacoby Brissett at $8 million. Then we get to last year. Browns bring in Josh Dobbs to be a backup. Boy, the people got an issue with that. They don't like that. Why can't we go out and get a strong backup? Right? I remember that being an argument. You need to get a strong backup. Okay, they trade Josh Dobbs for a 5th-round pick. People were mad at that when Josh Dobbs had his hot couple of weeks, while the Browns were winning games with their backup quarterback, mind you. Like, keep in mind, people were complaining about the Browns' backup quarterback situation while the Browns were winning games with their backup quarterbacks. End of the season, Josh Dobbs implodes, gets benched for somebody that we don't even remember, and Andrew Berry looks like a genius for getting a 5th-round pick for Josh Dobbs. And then he brings in Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco plays well. Cut, print, story. Now we're in the offseason, and people are mad that they signed Jameis Winston. Based on everything that's happened the last couple of years, I'm just going to say this, people are going to love Jameis Winston by the end of the year. This is usually how this goes. Every single step along the way when it comes to backup quarterback, people have complained. Andrew Berry has been right. I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt. The next comments come from the Ravens signed Derrick Henry. Henry is a solid back, but he's not a 250 touch guy anymore. I question his fit with the offense because of his ability to catch passes, hurts their offense and creativity. Browns never struggled versus Henry because of their they would stack the box. In my opinion, I feel like Mitchell is their best coming off that injury. I just question how he makes their offense more dynamic and will he do some more damage, but the Ravens did. I would be more concerned about the Ravens if they got a better wide receiver than if they upgraded at running back. Like the upgrade at running back, I didn't think that's where they needed to get better. I think they got better I think they got better at a position that they were already fine at. So it doesn't really bug me too much. Colin says, thank you, Q, for the Joe Flacco description and why we didn't offer him a contract. It's true, a lot of people are emotional about it, but what we did was good. Well, that wouldn't make sense if the play style isn't what you're looking to do in 2024. There's a reason to new coaches, and the idea that Flacco would be our best option at backup wouldn't make sense. Given the direction we're going offensively, yeah, I just think the Browns are just trying to pull this offense into a different direction. And Joe Flacco would kind of serve as an anchor to that old thing. And if the Browns wanted to do that, they would have kept Alex Van Pelt, right? Like they did not have to get rid of Alex Van Pelt to change the offense. They could have hired a new quarterbacks coach, hired a new tight ends coach and said, we're going to evolve up. But they got rid of Alex Van Pelt when he didn't do a fireable job. And I think that's because they want to move on from that old thing and get into some new concepts. And that's a real step forward. And I think that Joe Flacco would kind of be a step backwards. Cousins got Watson money in Atlanta. You know, it's funny because I don't think that that's a crazy deal for Kirk Cousins. It's like a 2-year deal for like $90 million. But it just goes to show you how stupid these conversations that we have about contracts are. Because like in 3 years, any contract that was signed 3 years ago is probably a pretty good deal right now. This just the market jumps up, especially when the salary cap keeps raising it like 8%. Recapping the Browns free agency so far. This comment is truly a testament to Barry and the scouting department seeing our mid-round picks that were depth pieces, backup signing legit NFL second contracts. Testament to the respect that he has with his peers. Also goes to show you the confidence, GM's confidence in his scouting department, replenish the middle class talent, major trust between scouting, player development. Yeah, I think, somebody was trying to like point out that they felt like the 2020 draft for Andrew Berry was terrible. But there's like 6 NFL players in that draft. And I don't know, like I got to do a whole video about just how out of whack people's expectations are for draft classes. Because it seems like if you don't hit a home run on every pick that you do in the draft, people are going to act like it was a failure. And that's just so far from reality. Honestly, if you hit 1 home run in a draft, it's pretty good. If you hit a couple singles and a double in a draft, that's a damn good draft, right? So I try to not engage with people's draft conversations, especially when it comes to the evaluation of a GM, because I think people just get that one wrong more often than not. Browns free agency winner says, my whole thoughts with this free agent thing was that Ken Dorsey at work, there's a lot of utility knife like options here. Really like it because it makes us less predictable, still allows us to be that Cleveland Browns tough offense. It's not just durable, but smart. I like the direction things are headed. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the direction things are going on the offensive side of the ball. I hope that things go in the way that I think they're going. I hope that things are good this year, but I really think that the Browns made some positive steps on the offensive side of the ball, and I hope that turns into success on the field. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have a better night. Peace.